What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another review show for you guys as we have crashed out the Champions League at the hands of AC Milan, and a very poor AC Milan team at that. But what you got to say, a very poor Tottenham team as well. It's really hard to take that game yesterday. That game was literally there for the taking. Oh, how rude of me. By the way, Brian Daigle's here with us, by the way.
Hello, people.
Instead of Sim. I'm just seething from last night. I mean, but yeah, like I was saying, I think that it was a game that was there for the taking for us yesterday. We go into it with a 1-0 deficit, and you're thinking, when you're looking at the game out in the San Siro, you're thinking, all right, look, we didn't have the best game, but we didn't get battered, and we could have got something out of that game. So that in itself gives you a bit of confidence, taking them back to Tottenham and potentially trying to beat them. The way we set up yesterday, and it's just like you set up like you're setting up for any other game when you're 1 goal down. I don't understand why you don't just go for their throats right from the beginning. Try get that early goal. Try put them under pressure. But instead of that, we let them settle in the game. We let them be a bit more comfortable and confident in that first half. They were the ones producing the best chances of that first half. The best chance we had was a Harry Kane deflected cross that nearly went in. Yep. And it's just like, what are you doing? What are the tactics here on the pitch? What are they? What are the players doing as well? It seems like there was a lack of will to try and get the job done. And it's like, if you bring up the app that I've got here, you can see the progress bar in that first half, which is hello. Yeah? All right, I'll just announce it again. All right. Well, if you bring up the app, let's have a look at the progress bars, because you can see in the first half, yes, we had pockets of pressure, but by and large, it was AC Milan really the ones putting the pressure on, albeit not high bars. So as you can say, it was like a really dull game of football in that first half. But how can we not come out firing for this game? How can they not be feeding off the energy of the fans? Because the fans were giving it at the beginning of the game. It was brilliant atmosphere. All the fans were up for it. But the players, the management, everyone involved on that football pitch just can't seem to rise to the occasion. And I can't see why they don't come out full guns blazing and just go for their throats and try to get that early goal. Like, what is that?
So the thing that got me, first of all, I said to you just before we came on air, there was someone in the YouTube comments last night after one of the watch-along, the instant reaction, the fan show, who came out with a comment, or she, and if you're watching, I love this comment, and it was, only Tottenham could go into this game and defend a 1-0 defeat.
That's what it felt like in that first half.
That's what we did. We should have been out there fighting and going all Conte, or at least attacking and trying to put an impression on the game. And we just didn't. And as I was saying in the watch-along, the one set of teams you don't want to just sit back and try and is an Italian team. They will just sit back. This is their bread and butter. This is what they spent years and years crafting, the art of defending and holding on to things. And we just didn't offer anything. And I don't know, I certainly saw it on the watch-along. We just tried to do everything so central. And we're static. There's players that are just walking along, waiting for people to move, or they're trying balls into the centre and they've got 3 people that they've closed in on one person. And they came here with a game plan to just like, let's sit back, not concede, and if we can get them on the counter, we'll do it. And that's basically what we try and do anyway. And you don't want to do it against, like you said, a very, very poor Milan team, but this was like a training session to them. It really was. And you thought in the second half, we might try and go a little bit more gun-ho, and we did to some extent. It still wasn't good enough, and I just don't get it. Like I said, this is your last chance in the Champions League. You've got to score a goal. I kind of wished Ozzy was the manager yesterday. At least we would have attacked.
When you look at the second half, we came out. I mean, it was more of the same for the first 10 minutes of that second half, and then we do make that change. Pedro Porro comes on for Ivan Perisic, who was really poor once again. But he made a difference, didn't he, Pedro Porro? And this is what I was saying coming into this game. I said I don't want to see Perisic playing. I want to see Porro play there instead of him. He moved Emerson over to the left and Porro onto the right, which was probably the best move. And you saw we started to have a bit of attacking intent. If you bring on the app one more time, you can see by the progress bars in this second half. Yeah, the first 10 minutes, a bit both ways. And then we had a really big spell of 20 minutes, really on top, really pressurising them. We had a couple of chances. Højbjerg danced inside the box and nearly had a good chance. He was geeing up the fans. We had a couple of other chances as well. But then when we were on top, when we were in the ascendancy, that's when Romero gets sent off. And after Romero gets sent off, that was it. It was game over. We didn't have pretty much, apart from that Harry Kane chance right at the end, we didn't have a chance after that. And it killed the game. Romero killed us yesterday.
He did. I mean, the first thing I want to talk about, you brought us Porro. And do you know what I'm loving about Porro? He had a very good game against Wolves. But what I am loving about him is he just wants the ball. He doesn't want to time waste. He's grabbing the ball. He's trying to G the crowd up. He'll put his face in people's faces. He'll give the crowd something to say, right, he's here. This guy's going to do something or try and do something. He's got that tenacity. He's got that fight. And I enjoyed seeing that for him. But we've got to talk about fight and tenacity.
Wait a second. Let's just carry on Porro just for 1 sec. If you bring on the app again, you can see this is Porro's heat map. There you can see on the top side of the screen. He had... where was it? 2 key passes in the game, 4 of his 8 crosses coming off being accurate, and 3 of his 5 long balls being accurate. So that in itself shows you, what kind of an impact he was having on the game. Also had a shot off target. But then if you look at Ivan Perisic on the other hand,
do we have to
look at that heat map from Ivan Perisic? Like, I don't even know what that is. Like, even central midfielders at one stage, he had. Where was his cross? So he put 1 cross in the whole night, 0 accurate crosses, and he made 1 long ball pass, which was accurate. And that's the difference between the 2 players on the night. I mean, Pedro Porro was on the front foot looking to make something happen. Ivan Perisic, I don't know what he does on that football pitch anymore. Like, seriously, what does he do?
No, I don't. And like I said, I mean, we've spoken to you about this before. I really thought this was going to be a great signing. And it started off offensively looking like it really was. But since the World Cup, we've all known there's been a problem with defending, but since the World Cup, I don't know what's happened. He performs for Croatia, but he plays more advanced. But it's still, he should be able to do it. But
that's the problem, right? I kept saying during that World Cup, maybe even a bit before the World Cup as well, like, he's not a wing-back anymore.
No.
If you want to use him further up the pitch. He doesn't have the legs or the energy to get up and down that pitch all day long. I think why he was so good for Croatia, because they didn't ask him to do that defensive role. They asked him to stay up the pitch and provide going forward. Fine, he's not providing going forward for us at the moment, but I think that's because of the energy that he has to exert by going up and down the pitch. If we asked him to maybe just play that left wing role, maybe he can do it more. But can he play that role in our team? Because Son, in that role, it's more like a left-sided number 10 as opposed to a left winger. So can Perisic do that role? I'm not so sure. I mean, right now, I'm kind of thinking about it and being like, look, I'm just happy to cut our losses and just get rid of him in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of agree with that, but especially with Destiny coming in. With Destiny, or maybe there's a shout for him with Destiny. Maybe he can be more advanced next season. Who knows? But getting back to where we were, Romero. Or actually, before I talk Romero, people were talking about obviously maybe Porro playing as a winger, and for that game, do you know what? Kulusevski was poor again, really poor again. I don't know if I'd rather he'd gone off and we've kept him up. But then you had Danjuma, the greatest bench warmer there is there. But let's go back to Romero. We talk about tenacity and fight and everything in Porro. Well, we know what Romero can be. We know what he can be. And that's the good side and the bad side. And yesterday was the atrocious side. The first card was needless, but we know, listen, Romero's got a thing where he does go in hard on one tackle every single half, doesn't he? He's like, I'm here, what are you going to do about it? It was a needless and reckless one, and not only that, he got suspended. If we had got through, he'd been suspended, as would Longley. But that second one was just totally uncalled for.
Well, the player's going nowhere. He's in an area of the pitch where he just doesn't need to do that. And you see this time and time again from Romero, and sometimes we applaud it and we like it because when it comes off, it's actually a great thing to see. But when it doesn't come off, I mean, he puts us under so much trouble in the past. Well, since the World Cup, he's been sent off twice, countless amounts of yellow cards. When you're looking at the game yesterday, if you bring on the app again, you know, look at that heat map, predominantly in that central area of the pitch. But what you associate with Christian Romero is how good he is at the ground duels, how good he is at being aggressive. He attempted 5 ground duels yesterday, 0 successful.
Jesus.
0. He attempted 4 aerial duels, 3 of them were successful. And he attempted 2 long passes and 0 of them were successful.
So his good things he was bad at and his bad thing he was good at.
Yeah, pretty much.
But this is where you're looking at. And going back to where you said when Romero, when it comes off, we love it and whatever. But normally when he does this, we're 2-0 up or 2-1 up or 3-0, whatever it is. And there's no danger, so to speak. Well, there was like 15 minutes left of our Champions League status and we needed a goal. And you just going down to, listen, we know, we've said it before. I said it after Sheffield United, actually. I think Harry Kane not playing up front in that game wasn't as big a loss as Romero not in that defence, because without Romero, we can't defend. Yeah. You've got enough talent up there that should be able to say, right, any of that combination should be able to put in a performance or get a job done. Without Romero, we can't. And like you said, that was Milan. Like, right, this has been easy for us already. Let's just take one foot off the gas. We're practically through. And do you know what? If it weren't for Fraser Forster, that could have been a defeat very, very easily.
Could have been a few really good saves in there from Fraser. But, I mean, like, it's just embarrassing, isn't it? Like, time and time again, we get to these stages of tournaments, last 16 in the Champions League. By the way, the last time we scored a goal in the last 16 of the Champions League was against Man City, apparently.
Yeah, well, the last competitive goal in knockout that we scored in Champions League was Lucas Moura's hat-trick.
Right, Lucas Moura's hat-trick, sorry, yeah. Which is nuts to think about. I mean, we knocked out to Leipzig last time and now knocked out to AC Milan with 2 games where we really should have done something. I mean, Leipzig was a bit different because we had so many injuries. But yesterday, we should definitely be going through. And it's just like, you're looking at the outlook of this season now. And we've gone out to Sheffield United in the FA Cup, embarrassing. Gone out to Nottingham Forest in the Carabao Cup, embarrassing. And now we've gone out to this Milan team in the Champions League, which has also been embarrassing. Where does this leave us? Where does this season? Where does this leave the manager as well? I mean, I'm thinking about it now. I mean, I said this even before this Champions League game. I mean, if the guy doesn't want to be here, then why are you still here? Why are you letting things fester until the end of the season where we've got even more danger of dropping down the table, getting into the unknown territories of mid-table, which we haven't been in a very long time. So what do we do? Like, should we just sack him right now?
So first of all, I want to address, like you said, going out the cup and these performances. You said to me a couple of days ago, and I can't get it out of my head, that people like yourself and Simeon and this great away fan base that we have been to Milan away, Sheffield in the FA Cup, Wolves in the league, and the return leg of Milan, and you ain't seen a goal. You haven't seen a goal. There's been no heart, there's been no fight, there's been no tactical awareness or using their football brains. That's on the players. When it comes to Conte, again, we were speaking a couple of days ago, and I said we both agree on this. If he ain't going to stay, fuck off. If you ain't going to stay, just leave.
Because it's not doing anyone any favours.
No,
it's just holding us back. We're so like up in the air. We don't know what's going to be coming next season. We don't know who our manager's going to be. We don't even know like what kind of system we're going to be playing or philosophy that we're going to have. I mean, everything is so up in the air. And I was willing to maybe accept that if Antonio Conte is going to do something at this football club. But we're at all the competitions now. Top 4, we're still in the top 4 right now, but you're looking at it and, you know, Liverpool playing really well at the moment. Newcastle could easily come back into it. You've got even the likes of like Brighton and Brentford up our backside if they can win their games in hand. So, I mean, top 4 is nowhere near a given this year. So what do you do? What do you do? I mean, for me, I think we just need a fresh start. And I feel like if Conte was to go, you're seeing you're seeing what's happening in the fan base, the fractures in the fan base at the moment. There are a lot of fans not liking Antonio Conte, the style of play, the way we're going out in these competitions. I mean, I said it on my fan cam last night. There was the fan base was an absolute joke last night. I said it. Look, I looked to the right of me. I could hear people trying to start Levy out chants. I looked to the left of me. I heard people trying to start Conte out chants. I hear from the back of me people trying to start Mauricio Pochettino songs, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? We're in a Champions League last 16, and there's just fractures everywhere. And after the game, we were doing our instant match reaction, and if you go over and listen to it, all you can hear is people singing the Pochettino song.
Yep.
That's all you can hear. And it's just like, I'm kind of thinking now, after witnessing that last night, I feel like if Pochettino was to come back from now until the very soon, in the next week or so, I think it will give the place a lift. And I think that's what we need right now. I think if things carry on under Conte, things are just going to get more toxic and more toxic and more toxic with this football that we're playing. So I kind of feel like the best course of action is to bring in Pochettino now and just give the fan base a bit of a lift.
So yeah, going back to Conte as well, I have been as much Conte in as I am Levy out. And I still think he's a wonderful manager, but I don't think the fit's right. And what really started to annoy me yesterday was when we were here doing the fan show and Nick was reading out his press conference comments or his interview comments that were just so contradictory of each other. How he's seeing what he's seeing is, and I feel like he's just saying these things now to get sacked. Richarlison doesn't help. But do you know what Pochettino's starting to remind me of? Do you remember back on deadline day with Peter Odemwingie when he was just hanging outside the Crystal QPR? I'm sure around Hotspur Way or around the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Pochettino's already parked up in a camper van, just waiting for the call to say, yeah, you can come in now, you can come in. I'll keep saying this with Mauricio Pochettino. I love that man. I absolutely love him, and he gave me, apart from Paul Gascoigne, the greatest time I've ever been as a Spurs fan. But I don't want him anywhere near this club with Daniel Levy. If it was a new owner, I would welcome this man back with open arms. I just got a feeling, yeah, the fans could be happy, but as people were saying yesterday, the people that are singing for him now are probably the people that are saying they wanted him out 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I didn't want him out. I when I found out the news that he'd gone, I was at Booking.com in Toronto and I threw my laptop against the wall and smashed it. I didn't want him gone. What if he does come back? What has the last 4 years been about?
Yeah, it's been a complete waste of time. It's been a complete waste of time. But look, the fact of the matter is, there's no news on him coming back. But it's looking. Do you think Conte's going to last the season?
No.
And if he doesn't, then when is this news going to come out?
So I put a bet on with Ryan Isaacs that it'll be gone by Forest. Like literally, I think this could happen like momentarily. Especially, I know it's Sky and everyone that are doing what's it called, clickbait stuff or whatever. But I just think this is going to grow and grow and grow. And the other thing you were saying about fourth not being a certainty, we're the 3 o'clock kickoff that you and me are doing on Saturday. Liverpool got Bournemouth away at the 12:30 kickoff. We could be out of the top 4 before that game kicks off. So, you know, like last week where we said once Newcastle had lost, this is the moment. If we can get those 3 points, we build a lead, and the players couldn't hack it. Well, it could be the other way around, where just what Liverpool needed as a confidence booster for the going away for the team they beat 9-0 is beating their rivals 7-0. And then if they do that and go above us, do the Spurs team currently have the mentality or the togetherness to say, right, we're down in the gutter? I honestly think now Conte has lost the dressing room. I think Conte has lost a large section of the fans. I am clinging on to it, but like I said, this is a divorce waiting to happen. And I think right now they're just telling the kids we're separating and this isn't on you, it's on me and blah, blah, blah.
What's the point in waiting? I just don't get it. I just don't get what the point is in waiting. This is the classic Tottenham, isn't it? It's so reactive instead of proactive. So we're going to sit around, let it fester till the end of the season and potentially miss out on, and look, we can potentially miss out on top 4 either way, but I think there's always a bigger chance with that new manager bounce, with a better feeling in the fan base to get top 4. But on the flip side of that, when you look at Antonio Conte and his objectives coming into this football club, his objectives were to get top 4. His objectives weren't to win trophies. His objectives wasn't to win the league. His objective was to get top 4. Last season, he got us top 4 against all the odds, and right now we are sitting in top 4. So when you're actually looking at it, yeah, fine, there might be noises coming out the fan base at the moment, but the way the hierarchy are looking at it, do you reckon they're looking at it is that, look, he's meeting objectives at the moment, so what point is there to sack him?
So the other thing that I was going to say with this is, do you remember apparently Levy was furious with our exit in the FA Cup and the manner of it, and they're well, why didn't you do something? If you're furious, where's the scolding? Where's the we aren't happy? Where is the standing up and saying, right, this ain't acceptable? Well, now you've gone out of your favourite competition, the Champions League. Where's the accountability? Everyone in this club should be held accountable, and that's from Levy, Lewis, Paratici, Conte, coaching, medical, scouting. There is no accountability, and I'm sure he's more furious, Levy, going out of this cup than he was the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So the way you're going to show you're furious is let this fester and continue, and the fans get more and more divided, and more rivaled, and more arguments within each other, and songs, like you said, started around the stadium. We're all going to do that because you're furious, but you might be on target.
Yeah. It's a joke, man. It really is a joke, the state of this state of play at this football club at the moment. And it's just a massive letdown to everyone, and it's a kick in the teeth to the fans, especially the match-going ones that travel week in, week out. And not only do they travel week in, week out, but especially the away fans. You know, we produce for the team. We try and kind of raise the bar for the team in terms of singing from the stands, and we just don't get it in return. We just don't. And what you got to say at the moment, with those games that you're talking about, no goals scored in these 4 big games. Why are these big players not stepping up for us? Where's Harry Kane? Where's Kulusevski? Where's Heung-min Son? Where are our attacking players gone? Because we've been saying all season that, you know, defence is shot to pieces, but we can score for fun. I mean, this team is scoring for fun. Where have those goals gone? Have they stopped playing for Conte? I mean, are they losing a bit of passion in the project at the moment? Is Harry Kane? Is he? I mean, what's going on with him? I mean, since that record goal against Man City, he scored 1 goal?
I believe so, yeah.
So I mean, where have all these goals gone?
I think, you know what? I think people are starting to see, and I like I said before, I'm one of those people where you realise what you're missing when they're not there, but we know what we're missing with this guy, Rodrigo Bentancur. I think he's having a major knock-on effect and impact with the whole dynamics of the team. But you're right, listen, people are very quick, and I've been one of them all season to really go for Son because I expect so much more. Harry Kane's got away with what Harry Kane's been doing because he's been getting the goals. And he's broken the record. He's not up. You can't just say, oh, he's broke the record. And he has been scoring the goals, but we are so much of this man. Yeah. We are so much of him. He's got to drop deep so then we can try and get Richard. There's just so many facets to his game where you know he's going to produce something if he can't score. But at the moment, it's not working. And I spoke to you, and someone said to me, and we might as well discuss it here. And I said to you a few days ago, do you remember? And I said, I think it was on a Twitter space site where people were saying that people are finding out Kulusevski. Where, obviously, don't get me wrong, this guy is electric. I think he is fantastic. But it's like last season, no one could lace his boots. No one knew what to do with him. Yes, he may have been rushed back from injury. Yes, he may have been. But he put in a few of those balls yesterday. You know, those heat-seeking missiles like he did for Harry Kane against Leicester, like he did for Dyer against Southampton or Sessegnon on the opening day. He tried that ball about 3 or 4 times, and it's just going out for a goal kick. It's just when he would normally his crossing was terrible. It looks like he's taking that extra split second to come to a decision where normally bang done, it's gone by.
He hasn't been the same since he's come back from his injury.
No, but then why bring down Zuma in and have Richarlison? This was the whole idea of it. We got told, or people said to me, or you saw on Twitter, the summer window is for buying numbers, and January is going to be quality. So we bought in numbers so we can have depth to this squad, but we don't rotate it unless it has to be done. An injury, a suspension. That's it.
Yeah, it's very true. And Danny Rose was on Sky Sports last night, speaking some home truths once again. And, you can see he's proper Tottenham through and through, Danny Rose. I mean, what he was saying last night, he basically was talking about that comment he made to the Sun 6 years ago. And it's still ringing true today. And 6 years on, I mean, Danny, he didn't really want to get into it because he still wants to get let into the training ground, he was saying. But he didn't hold back last night. No,
I mean, you look at it. We'll come to Danny, but Carl Walker was saying it at Sheffield United. It's like, why aren't they not going for the cup? Why aren't they doing this? When I left them, they were second in the league. They were this, they were that. Danny Rose said something 6 years ago. Something I've been saying feeling 15 and saying since I've been on this channel, as many others. He's saying it live on British television that gets broadcasted around the world.
He ain't getting let back in that training ground.
No, but he's Jamie O'Hara's come out and said it. Genius is these players are coming out and saying it. I mean, when Danny Rose says it, it really does ring true because we know he had a reputation for speaking out like this. But like you said, this was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, and the same thing is still happening. And for that, you can't blame the managers. For that, you can't blame the players. You can blame one man and one man only.
Yeah, very true. And look, at the end of the day, this club, unfortunately, is rotten. Is rotten to the core. And however many world-class managers you bring through this door, unfortunately, it doesn't matter at the moment. And we just need to get back to basics. We need to get back to playing front foot football, pressing football. We need to, the fans especially, desperately need to enjoy watching their team playing again. Whether you're winning trophies or finishing the top four, I think first and foremost, the Spurs fans need to enjoy going to football again because every Spurs fan, it's just like more of a chore going to that stadium now. And especially last night, I mean, we all went there in our numbers, we all started singing, and very soon the kind of football that was on show kind of just sucked the life out of us. And I said that at Sheffield United, where the fans went there in their numbers. 5,500 went up to Sheffield United, again, singing our hearts out for that first half. But as the game progresses, the way we play our football, the way the games are going at the moment, it just sucks the life out of us. It really does. And Conte is massively culpable for that. But we don't have the defence to not be playing football like that, because ultimately we're going to concede so many more than we score. And Conte has been very stubborn in terms of the way we play our football, in terms of playing football that's suited to a team that we have on the football pitch. And I feel like, maybe we'll concede a lot more goals when Pochettino comes in. But at least I think you'll see us score a lot more goals and play a bit more exciting football. And I think that's what the fans need to see right now.
They do. I mean, you look at it right now. With Poch, and I remember this very, very well, going to the games with Poch, you're walking down that high road, no matter what the weather, there's a spring in your step, and you're like, we're going to win this. We're going to win. It was like, what's the score going to be? How many's Kane going to get? Or Decky?
It won't be like that at the beginning, though, because he's going to need time.
That's it, but you'd be like, is Dele going to get on the score sheet? Is Son going to get on the score sheet? Is Eriksen, what's he going to do? Is he going to get a free? And it was just optimism, hope, whatever. I see it now when I've been to the games or speak to people. So many people say, I'm just going there for the social aspect now. I'm going there to see friends and have a few beers and do whatever. And you can hear it. By the way. Yeah, for me, obviously. But I mean, in general, but you look at it now and it's like, so what's the score going to be? It's just so dejected.
Heads down, fights happening everywhere. Yeah. It's just not a pleasant place to be at the moment, going to Tottenham Hotspur games. And it's really hard to see. And now, when you're looking at it from now until the end of the season, what is there to look forward to? A top four race, once again, where we're fighting to get into the top four just so we can get back into the top four next season. I mean, when is this club ever going to kick on? Yeah. When are we going to kick on? And I kind of feel like maybe coming out of Europe completely might be the best thing for us next season.
It could be. I mean, what will happen is if we went, it became a huge top four race, then we squeezed it on the final day, or like we did last year, everyone will be delighted, or the huge part of it will be like, yes, we got top four, brilliant.
I'm not going to get nowhere near as excited as I got last year.
Exactly, like you said, last year was an achievement. This year was a
minimum requirement.
Yeah, a minimum requirement. That's exactly. And you look at it, it's just, I don't want to be in the Champions League next year. I'm sorry, and the reason I say that is, what are we going to do with the money? We could be losing players anyway. What we're gonna I just don't see it. And like I said, the fans need to enjoy their football again. We need to get this back on track. And this top 4 race, you look at, like I said, I mean, Nick looked at it yesterday. There's over 1,800 tickets that went up on the exchange
More today,
yesterday.
apparently.
And I don't know what it's looking like now, but it doesn't even look like people are buying them. So who knows? There could be a load of empty seats there when we go there, which will be a start. But yeah, like you asked after Sheffield United, didn't you? You run a poll on Twitter as well, saying like, at the end of is it, if we go out of the Champions League, is that it? Is the season done, or do you care? It's what, March the 9th today? May as well be the end of June. I mean, the end of May, because there's nothing.
At the end of the day, obviously, I want us to finish in the top 4, and I'll be happy if we do finish in the top 4. But I'm still going to look at it like, meh, all right, we finished top 4, great. We're in the Champions League next season. And yeah, I mean, it's obviously a positive thing, but this season is always going to leave a bitter taste in my mouth. Starting the season fresh with Antonio Conte, he brought some signings in, albeit, yeah, it wasn't the greatest window. 6 out of 10 I gave it in the summer. On hindsight, I'll probably stick with it, to be honest, 6 out of 10. And it's just everything and anything that could go wrong went wrong for us this season. The amounts of injuries that we had. 3, our fitness coach passing away tragically. 2 of other Conte's close friends passing away. Conte having to have emergency surgery, removing his gallbladder, which name me another manager in the Premier League that's taken 3-4 weeks off. On top of that, we've got the situation surrounding Antonio Conte, where we don't know where he's going to be next season. We've also got the situation where he's going back to Italy every other week to spend time with his family. He's living in a hotel. His kids and his wife back in Italy, going to school there, don't want to move to England. They're very settled in Italy. So when you're looking at all of those situations all put together, number one, it makes sense for Conte to go because of those situations. And by the way, I didn't even mention the Paratici situation as well.
Jesus Christ.
So that's been hovering over us as well. But also, number 2, it's disgusting the way we've gone out of those competitions. And even with those situations, we shouldn't be going out of those competitions. But it makes me feel for the club and for the fans as well, because all these situations, when you look at the injuries that Liverpool had, they couldn't cope with those injuries. We've had, maybe not as many injuries as them, but definitely at the same level for sure. When you're looking at first half of the season, Kulusevski could hardly play, Romero could hardly play, Son's been completely off the boil. I mean, we've had a lot of different situations this year, which has made it really, really hard for us, next to impossible for us. And we've actually, considering those situations, I think we've actually done pretty well. But when you're looking at the situations specifically surrounding Antonio Conte, it just makes sense for him to go.
Yeah, it does. Listen, when we first originally signed him, obviously it cost me a tattoo. Everyone was so positive. It was like, this is it. This is it. Whether it was, we're going to do stuff and win trophies, whether it was, this is the guy that's finally going to stick it to the board, this is Levy's, like, whatever way you looked at it, everyone would have only looked at it as a huge, huge positive and a huge, huge win for Tottenham Hotspur. And it's just another social experiment that's gone wrong. It just is. Listen, Antonio Conte, like you said, there's been all these extenuating circumstances, but he hasn't helped himself. He hasn't helped himself. There's no different styles of play. There's no, right, let's switch to a different... Like, he switched to a different formation when we're losing and trying to get it. But when he's seen these games that have been so dull and so boring and so back and forth with nothing but scraps, change it. Change it. If you lose, you lose. At least you tried something and right, this didn't... You got to remember, when he was at Chelsea, he tried playing the 4. It went wrong. He said, right, I'm going back to a 3. They romped the league. He tried something first. He's come here. He's tried the 3. He's tried the 3. He's tried the 3. He's tried the 3. And we don't have the players to do it. No. We have the depth. We don't have the quality. And it's just been constant. You can tell what's happening at Spurs. And like Simeon said, we're not second half FC, we're just 45-minute FC. And that doesn't even mean one half. It could be like 20 minutes of one half, 25 of the next, or 30 of one and 50. We're a 45-minute team.
Yeah, it's very true. And it's hard. It's hard to get through days like this because you just know that we just deserve so much better than what we're seeing at the moment. You know, like I said before, we put in the hours week in, week out, going up and down the country, across Europe, and this is what we get in return year on, year out from this football club. And we need a refresh. We need defenders desperately to come in. I mean, who the hell employs Antonio Conte and doesn't give him a defence? Who the hell does that? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. You just like, what do you want him to do? Just wave a magic wand and say, oh, Dyer, you are now the best defender in the Premier League. Ben Davis, you are now the best defender. Come on, man. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke, the way we've acted with Antonio Conte, not bringing him a defence. I mean, we come into the transfer window in the summer and everyone's like, I remember Ali Gold being like, oh, this is going to be a game-changing transfer window. Centre-back and right-wing-back are the first points of call. We're bringing Jed Spence, which the manager doesn't want to use, and we're bringing Clement Longley on loan, where, you know, he's not a great footballer, let's be honest. So, look, it's really hard to take. Not much of a match review because not much happened in that game.
Also, just want to say, we said Longley. Don't remember he was a stopgap because next summer we're getting Gavadio or Bastoni.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting Gavadio or Bastoni.
Yeah, neither do I, to be honest. But look, it's really hard to take. Like I said, not much of a match review, more like just a rant about the football club. But look, at the end of the day, there really wasn't much in that game to talk about yesterday. First half was a drab affair like it usually is. Second half, we came out to play a little bit. And then the Romero sending off completely killed us. I mean, Romero was the detriment to the team yesterday. He really was. And we couldn't find a way to play after kind of Romero got sent off, apart from that one chance we had from Harry Kane. And the fans, like I said, I disagree completely with those chants for Pochettino, especially when Antonio's on the sidelines there. And I completely disagree with the fans with booing players coming on and stuff like that. It's just like, if you think that's going to help the team, you know, spearhead their way and get a goal and make it into the next round of the Champions League, you mean you've got another thing coming. Yeah, and I get the point, saying, you know, you pay your money, you're entitled to boo when you see you're not seeing things go right. And look, I can't say anything about that. You are entitled to boo. But I just completely disagree with it because I don't think that it helps matters. I don't think it helps anything when Davinson Sanchez is coming on. Yeah, fine, you might disagree with the sub when we're losing 1-0 and Dejan Kulusevski goes off for Davinson Sanchez. But why boo? Why is that going to make an impact on the game? It's only going to make a negative impact on the game, in my opinion. And with Davinson Sanchez coming on, his confidence is low already because he's not in the team and everyone's berating him every time he plays. I mean, what happens if we get a corner and he scores from it? I mean, we nearly did score from a set piece when he came on. So you got to support the team. Got to support the team when they're on the pitch, and that's all I'm going to say on the matter. But very distraught, gutting. It's an absolute embarrassment the way we've gone out all these cup competitions this year. But from now to the end of the season, we just got to hope we can make it in that top four. Let me know in the comment section below if you are bothered even about getting in that top four now.
Well, do you want to end on a positive? Exactly.
Come on.
I was about to say, you mentioned it yesterday. If there's one thing, we've been so busy talking about the negatives, and the negatives far outweigh the positives. There is a positive that's coming out of this, and it's an unlikely, or not an unlikely positive, but someone that shouldn't be having to do everything that he's doing, and it is that man, Ollie Skip.
Ollie Skip, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant last night. And he's producing for us ever since he's got into the team in the first leg against AC Milan. Yep. I think he's been probably our best player. He's been brilliant. Can't say anything more. He's been tenacious in the middle. He's been driving the team forward. I mean, he's been an example that some of the other players should be following in the footsteps of. And this is a kid coming through from the academy. So Ollie Skip, brilliant. I thought Højbjerg maybe a bit poor in the first half, but he definitely grew into it. Second half was definitely one of our better players. But apart from that, there really weren't too many good performances on that pitch. I would say them two and Porro.
And Forster.
And Forster were probably the only ones that really stood up for the shirt last night. But there you have it. That is what we're going to say on the game yesterday. Player ratings will be with you very soon. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come